You know, this isn't just another story about one of cricket's all-time greatest captains. It's really about a massive choice, a kind of crossroads that, let's be honest, a lot of us face. It's the story of a man who had to decide, was he going to catch the train to a safe, secure job, or the one to a one-in-a-million dream? So let me just ask you this straight up. Imagine you have it, a government job, a steady paycheck, a secure life all mapped out. Would you give all of that up to chase a dream that has almost zero guarantee of success? That's the exact question at the very heart of this story. Okay, let's get into it.
All right, so our story actually starts on a dusty football field in a small town called Ranchi. And here's the crazy part. The man who would become India's greatest wicketkeeper, he didn't even really like cricket at first. No, his first love was goalkeeping.
Yeah, he wasn't discovered by some big-time cricket scout, not at all. It was actually his school's football coach, Keshav Banerjee, who saw this young kid, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, diving all over the place to stop goals. And he just thought, wow, those reflexes, they could be pretty useful behind a set of cricket stumps. He asked them to give wicket-keeping a try, and just like that, a legend was accidentally born.
But, the path wasn't exactly easy. His father, like a lot of dads, saw a secure government job as the ultimate prize, not sports. And while his mom quietly had his back, Dhoni's training was, well, let's call it unconventional. He developed that explosive, raw power-hitting style, not in some fancy academy, but in the narrow streets of Ranchi playing tennis ball cricket. That's where he got that raw, untamed power from.
So, all this raw talent eventually led him, believe it or not, to the toughest chapter of his life. Between 2001 and 2003, MS Dhoni wasn't just a cricketer. He was a traveling ticket examiner, a TTE, for the Indian Railways at Kharagpur station. This was that secure future his dad always talked about. But for Dhoni, it felt more like a dead end.
And this slide right here perfectly shows the two lives he was trying to lead. By day, he's just lost in the noise and chaos of these railway platforms, just another face in the crowd, living this boring 9-to-5 life. But then, at night, totally exhausted, he'd still pick up his kit bag and head to the grounds for practice. He had a steady paycheck in one hand and a dream that felt like it was slipping through his fingers in the other.
And if you really want to understand the struggle, just look at this number, 10 feet by 12 feet. That's it. That was the size of the tiny little room he shared with 3 other guys. This was not a glamorous life. It was an absolute grind day in and day out, and it was all fueled by a hope that was really starting to fade.
And this was his breaking point. That moment of real crisis. He felt completely trapped. The job security that was supposed to be such a blessing felt more like a prison. He was literally watching his prime cricketing years tick away on a railway platform, and that frustration, it was just becoming too much to handle.
So that brings us to the absolute climax of his struggle. The decision. The all-or-nothing, bet-it-all gamble. He had to make a choice, the known versus the unknown, the safe bet versus the impossible dream. This was his leap of faith.
He goes back home, and he tells his father he's quitting. Can you just imagine that conversation? Giving up a permanent government job, something millions dream of, for the what-if of cricket. And he gave himself an ultimatum. He'd dedicate one final year to making it. And if it didn't work out, he'd give up cricket for good.
And you know what happened? The moment the weight of that railway job was gone, for the first time, Dhoni could focus completely on his game. And the results? They were immediate. They were explosive. The boy from Ranchi was about to become the Ranchi Rocket.
With his head now completely in the game, the right people finally started to notice. A brand new talent spotting wing of the Indian Cricket Board saw his potential. He got picked for an India A tour, and he just went ballistic, scoring huge runs and making everyone pay attention. That tour, that was the key that finally unlocked the door to the Indian national team.
But here's the twist in the story. After all of that struggle, after quitting his job and betting everything, his international debut against Bangladesh, it was an absolute anticlimax. He faced one ball, and he was run out without scoring a single run. A golden duck. You gotta wonder, did he make the right choice?
Well, any doubts about that choice were just erased a few games later. He gets promoted up the batting order against India's biggest rivals, Pakistan, and he unleashes this blistering 148. This wasn't just a score, it was a loud and clear statement. It announced to the entire world that a new kind of fearless, power-hitting cricketer had just arrived. And if 148 was a statement, then his unbeaten 183 against Sri Lanka was a full-blown revolution. At the time, it was the highest score ever by a wicket-keeper in a one-day international. He wasn't just a keeper who could bat a little bit, he was a destructive force of nature.
Of course, you cannot talk about Dhoni's style without talking about the helicopter shot. I mean, this shot broke every rule in the coaching manual. It was pure genius. And where did it come from? Not from some fancy coach, it came from those tennis ball games way back in Ranchi. It was just pure, raw, street-smart innovation.
But his rise didn't just stop at being a star player. In just a few short years, he went from being a ticket collector to being the man trusted to lead a whole new, young generation of Indian cricketers onto the world's biggest stage.
Then, in 2007, the unthinkable happened. It's the very first T20 World Cup, and Dhoni, the new captain, is given this young team that literally nobody gave a chance. And yet, in a nail-biting final against Pakistan, he calmly guides them to a historic, unbelievable victory.
Just think about that for a second. That life-altering decision to quit his job didn't just lead to his own success. No way. That single leap of faith, taken on a crowded railway platform, directly led to a World Cup trophy, and it changed the entire direction of Indian cricket for a generation to come.
And that really brings us right back to the beginning, doesn't it? Dhoni's story is incredible, for sure, but it also makes you wonder, how many other potential legends in sports, in art, in anything, are out there right now choosing security over their dream? How many great stories are we missing out on just because the risk felt a little too great?